Hello everyone, and today we're going to talk about our music feature. The music feature is a great way to share and sell tracks inside your app. You can import, upload, or link to music files easily to integrate them within the application. I'm going to show you guys a couple examples of that as well. If you include the music feature within your app, be sure to enable audio background play in the publish step before you publish your app. This is the only way that it will allow music to play continuously even after users navigate away from your application. Also, one thing to note, custom track file sizes cannot exceed 6 megabytes. Any larger than this and it won't upload to our platform. So make sure those file sizes are less than 6 megabytes. In regard to industries that are really great for the music feature, primarily clubs, musicians, and DJs and fitness studios are some great ideas. I've seen customers use them for gyms. I've seen people use them for churches for like live broadcasts of maybe a sermon. I've seen barbershops use it for, sounds of the shop or whatever it may be. And that's an example I'm going to show you guys today. The music feature is really great in general, but one thing to remember is it's good to have a music feature with a purpose, not so much just because. Apple's really strict on whether or not the app should have a music feature or why it would have a music feature. But if you can give it some great purpose, this is some really good stuff and content for your application. In terms of how to set up the music feature, you'll notice I've already added it to my barbershop here, and I've called it Sounds of the Shop. For my particular barbershop, I want people to come in, and while they're waiting for me, maybe they got their headphones on, they're just kind of listening and vibing out to the music. That's the type of atmosphere I want to create, then awesome. We're looking real good. I got my little feature icon of the level bars, which is real nice. Now, when I go to settings, it's going to prompt for a home screen shortcut. This means that when you open up the application, there's going to be a little interactive shortcut, no different than like our push notification home screen shortcut or our settings home screen shortcut that allows the user to click it automatically to be able to access the music. Whether or not you turn it on or off is completely up to you. I most of the time recommend to turn it on just because it's a central place where people know to find the music. You can also choose left or right side. In this case, I'm going to choose the right side right next to my options icon. Now under music, one thing that is required is called a mobile header image. So this is what's going to show with your track. So because this is my barbershop, I don't maybe want any pictures of actual services, but maybe I love this one of the little lamp. I'm going to hit select and save. And now I'm going to start adding the tracks. Now, there's 3 different ways that you can add tracks. You can upload a custom track from your actual computer. You can import iTunes tracks, or in some cases, you can actually include a streaming URL into the music feature via a custom track. Now, for streaming URLs, they do have to be able to support both iOS and Android devices. What this means is that the file choice can only be an MP3 file. If you do an MP4 file, Android devices won't be able to play it because that is not a file type that they're aware of. For streaming services, it's normally a hit or miss, but you definitely just have to make sure that you find the right one, and it may take a few times to test it out or maybe to get the right type of streaming link. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to send those in. We'd be more than happy to look and see if any changes need to be made. But obviously, testing it out in the feature is the next best thing to do. So let's start by adding a custom track first. I think that'll be really important. So what I'm going to do is I actually got a MP3 file of Pharrell's Happy from Despicable Me 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that particular file right into the application. You'll notice that we make a URL for it for our system. So I'm going to call this Happy. Artist is going to be Williams. Album is Me Too. And I'm not going to have a purchase URL for the track. I'm not going to add any album artwork. I'm going to leave the description as is. And I'm going to add album artwork. Why not? So I'm going to add a little beard. Why not? That'll look real nice. And for description, let's make this very simple. Happy by Again, the description field is a WYSIWYG editor, so you can put whatever you want in there, depending on what type of industry you're using this for. Again, in this case, I'm using it for a barbershop, but if you're focusing on clubs, musicians, and DJs and fitness studios, maybe more so the clubs, the musicians, and DJs, you may want to focus on putting more artist information in here, their SoundCloud URL, their links to their Facebook pages, their Instagram, their Twitter, their social media. Maybe it's a live tour schedule, depending on how many artists you have potentially in this music feature. You can also put lyrics in there. I've seen people do that, which I think is really nifty. But in general, whatever you want in here is pretty solid. I'm going to add this right away, and I'm going to hit save. And you'll notice that Happy has been added. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a streaming URL. So I've already pulled my streaming URL, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to the builder. I'm going to go to add to custom track, and I'm going to type the URL, and I'm going to say this is Modern Rock and Roll Radio. I'm not going to choose an artist or an album or a purchase link or any album artwork, but say Modern Rock and Roll Radio in my description, and I'm going to add, and I'm going to save. Now, the other type of import that we have is an iTunes track. So you can either search by keyword or by album. And what I'm going to do is I already have the Despicable Me 2 album here. I'm going to copy the album URL, and I'm going to search for it via iTunes. And you'll see here that I have the full album at my disposal. I'm actually going to select all, and I'm going to import them. And you'll notice now that it is downloading the audio tracks and importing them into the actual platform, which is really great. And this takes care of all the artist information, the album information, the album artwork. That's all covered with this import, which is really great. Now I'm going to hit close, and you'll see here that it's all added in here from a user standpoint, which is really nice. I'm going to hit the save button. So now you can see here at the top, we have the custom track that I added initially, which was Happy by Pharrell. We have the live streaming, which I didn't use an album cover for, and then we have the Despicable Me 2 soundtrack as well. We have a total of 24 tracks, and I can filter this and view all the custom ones. I can view all the iTunes ones that come in here. I can also view all, so you can manage this on a micro level. And if you want to rearrange them as well, maybe if I want YMCA to go up above Happy, I'm going to move that. Maybe you know what, I already have Happy in there, then let me remove that. I'm just gonna select it and hit the little trash can icon, and I'm gonna hit save. So with this music feature, you have a lot of ways to set it up. Now, in terms of what it looks like, let's go to the app preview. Because this is a fully native feature, we have to go to our native preview. And we'll just wait for this to load real quick. But once it gets rocking and rolling, no pun intended, you'll notice this is the little home screen icon here, the little thing that's moving. Typically, that indicates that the background audio has begun, and it's automatically going to play when users join in. I'm going to click on that one, and you'll notice that Happy now is playing. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to go to my Modern Rock and Roll, and you'll see here's where my description is. Now I need to know, I probably need to go in there and modify the text color to match. I can also press this play button. Probably a little bit on the design side we have to do to make sure it all fits in there. And with that being said, we're looking really good from a music feature standpoint. Now, let's go take a look at the publish section, because the one thing we do want to address as well is, as I said earlier, you need to have audio background play enabled. So I'm going to publish this for iOS, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the basic information. Okay, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit more, and you'll notice that under industry type, there's a section called allow music or audio to play in the background of your app. I want to highlight allow, and I want to save. This means that when the app gets submitted, it will allow music or audio to play in the background of the app, which is really key. With that being said, that's our music feature. If you have any other questions, please let us know. Thank you so much.